Hi, Doug. Doing good.
As a beginner,
I'll call you back in 2 minutes. Okay, I'll call you right back. Thanks.
as a beginner in code, there are several errors that might possibly make. As a beginner in code, there are several errors that you might possibly make, which will serve to hamper your progress. In order to avoid these basic mistakes while learning the code, the following rules should be observed. 1. Do not use the conventional words dot and dash to represent the code element sounds dit and ja. For example, if you want to say C in code language, the proper method would be to say da dit ja dit and not dash dot dash dot. A reason for a seemingly unimportant rule is that dit and ja sound more like the actual code signals than do dash and dot. To be a proficient code operator, you must learn to translate the code signals directly into numbers. For example, when a radio operator hears the sound da dit, he immediately translates these sounds into the letter N. Were he to begin learning the code indirectly in terms of dots and dashes, he would first have to translate the code sounds into dots and dashes and then into letters. This would lower his code speed tremendously since an extra process is included in the decoding. For example, the sounds da dit would first have to be translated into dash dot, since only in this form would he distinguish them as representing the letter N. This, obviously, is an indirect and highly inefficient method of receiving.
Actually, I have no idea. That's worse. Oh no. Oh yeah, we're almost there. Something makes me very sad about this would actually turn off the water. Very sad? Yeah. Oh, at least that. Yeah. I really expect that to bounce off.
2. Code should be learned by the correct oral method and not by the incorrect, slower visual method. The visual method causes the receiver operator to mentally visualize the entire chart of Morse code characters in order to pick out the letter that corresponds to these sounds. This method, too, is a slow, laborious process. It curtails and limits the speed that the beginner can hope to achieve. The correct oral method enables the operator to immediately associate the rhythm of the code sound with the letter that they represent. For example, hearing the rhythm of the sounds da dit would immediately bring to mind the letter C and no other. This method does not require lengthy thought processes or translation on the part of the operator. Three, you should soon find that certain letters are more difficult to learn and to memorize than others. You should therefore afford more time to studying these letters than to others, and should give more of your practice to renewing them. Far too many beginners learn the easier letters well and hardly are familiar with the more difficult ones. The folly of such procedures is obvious. The beginner is uneven in his ability and will probably remain in this predicament for some time.
Wait, can you bike one-handed? Ish, yeah. Ish? Do you have some gestures to picture? I was gonna hand you the camera. No. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm also just more leery about having the camera while biking. Yeah, that's fair. Have you seen that guy who he makes like coffee with a mocha pot on his bike? He does. Is it like a burner? He has a burner tied to his handlebars. That's awesome. And he does does the whole thing, because he can just bike with no hands his entire, like, commute to work. That's phenomenal. And that's like an ongoing bit he has? Yeah. Wow. Well, it's like, he made like, I think he made like hummus too. It had like carrots and hummus. Right.
4. Learn numbers and punctuation marks as you learn the alphabet. Although punctuation marks are less frequently used than are the letters, they are equally important. The code tests for both amateur and commercial licenses include punctuation marks and numbers. To be weak on these symbols is to risk failing the exam. Masks. Masks hide people's personalities or give them new ones. Since man discovered who he was, he has felt either the urge to hide himself or the desire to transform himself. Little wonder, then, that masks can be traced back to the beginnings of civilization. They are a part of our basic need to be disguised, a need that does not diminish despite our sophistication, our modernity, or our adulthood. Women disguise themselves when they conventionalize their faces with makeup. Men disguise themselves with beards and sunglasses and hats and false hair pieces. Disguises, of course, are not bad. They liberate our imaginations and our fantasies. The mask of the mime allows him to explore and develop these fantasies and to present them to his audience as each member of it might have dreamed them. The basic white makeup mask, so classic in some mime performances, was developed to erase the individuality of the performer. With a mask, he could play a type instead of continually playing himself. It also helped enlarge the face so that it could be more readable at a distance. These two quite functional purposes of masks clearly reinforce the mythic character of the performer. A universal type, shorn of human particularities, provides the essence of ritual and the essence of magic. From the point of view of the audience, he is not himself, not even a mime. He is a disembodied creature. It seems as though he has lent his body to a mask, creating a creature not entirely human, still one quite capable of moving and touching an audience, even as plain marionettes and puppets can. Mime as a form of philosophy. The pantomime's performance is as much an intellectual as physical exercise. There is meaning in his movements. Every gesture has its significance, and therein lies his chief excellence. The enlightened lesbianics of Mytilene called pantomimes manual philosophers, and used to frequent the theater in the conviction that he came out of it a better man than when he went in. And Timocrates, his teacher, after accidentally witnessing a pantomic performance, exclaimed, "How much I have lost by my scrupulous devotion to philosophy! I know not what truth there may be in Plato's analysis of the soul into the three elements of spirit, appetite, and reason, but each of the three is admirably illustrated by the pantomime. He shows us every passion under the control of reason. This last, like touch among the senses, is all-pervading. I have heard someone hazard a remark to the effect that the philosopher
tell me if I'm gonna remember. Yeah. Whoa, this one's great. Yeah, phenomenal. Good job at it, too. How are your journeys? It was good. Good journey. How's your journey's been? Fucking stellar.
Yeah, stellar. This video's gonna be
A bitch, dude. I mean, this is just like 4 hours of utterly aimless content. So we got down to 10 minutes.
wow. Well, I'm gonna make it a
To do all things with order. In a word, a pantomime, to deserve that name, must be everything exactly and to do all things with order, decency, and measure, like himself, without any imperfection. Have his thoughts perfectly composed, yet excel in a vivacity of mind, a quick apprehension, and deep judgment. And his applause must be the necessary consequence of his performance, in which every spectator must behold himself acted and see in the dancer as in a glass all that he himself used to do and suffer.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Wait, do you Freedom of glass.
It's great. I just like the balloon.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Bad idea. I mean, when you get closer, it looks like a worse idea. From this to this. Hello?
Hello. Wait,
Up to this point, we have considered how to be a character on stage, but not yet who to be. This is clearly a more complex issue, with no pat set of answers. Learning how to use the pressure or speed and rhythm well is far easier than learning how to be a fully rounded character, just as it is easier to learn or how to walk or eat than to learn how to be a human being. The mime does not have to begin at the beginning, though when he starts to think about presenting a character, the techniques he has learned thus far equip him to construct the physical reality of a character. Together, they put character virtually within his grasp. Character is a combination of givens. You may start by stipulating a certain kind of character with a set psychological values, who comes from a specific social and historical background. For example, one may decide to create the role of a poor boy who is timid and lost.
I can see the lens getting bigger.
Once one understands his character, one may put him into situations, a candy store or a busy city street, and develop his reactions. This is an approach which starts with the inner motivation of character.
Goodbye.
I like my sunnies here.
You're sunny.
All right. Later, team. This is
Later,
this
skater.
is beautiful, dude. This was such a
This was a good time.
lovely day.
I know.
Yeah, and Delphi again, just delighted you fucking came out,
Just
dude.
also me too.
What?
I'm also
Beautiful, but I have an apple.
My normal man again.
So
Oh, wait. think you have to wet it. It's not making any marks. Oh, there's a lot of spit on that. Oh. My spit. Is it working?
Mime is no easy profession. Now it comes to the pantomime. What must be his qualifications? What his previous training? What his studies? What his subsidiary accomplishments? You will find that his is no easy profession nor lightly to be undertaken, requiring as it does the highest standard of culture in all its branches, and involving a knowledge not of music only, but of rhythm and meter, and above all of your beloved philosophy, both natural and moral, the subtleties of dialectic alone being rejected as serving no useful purpose. Rhetoric, too, insofar as that art is concerned with the exposition of human character and human passions, claims share of its attention. Nor can it dispense with the painter's and sculptor's arts, but above all, it's an art that would remember all things. Like Calchas in Homer, the pantomime must know all that is, that was, and that shall be. Nothing must escape his ever-ready memory. Faithfully to represent his subject, adequately to express his own conceptions, to make plain all that might be obscure, these are the first essentials for the pantomime, to whom no higher compliment could be paid than Thucydides's tribute to Pericles, who, he says, could not only perceive a wise policy, but render it intelligible to his hearers. The intelligibility in the present case depending on the clearness of gesticulation. For his materials he must draw continually, as I have said, upon his unfailing memory of ancient story, and memory must be backed by taste and judgment. He must know the history of the world from the time when it first emerged from chaos. Lucian of pantomime, 2nd century AD.